Hi everyone, welcome to the actual first weekly webinar of ANA Prep. I look forward to getting to know you guys through this interactive medium. Before we get into today's content, let me talk a little about what and how about this webinar. So what are we going to do and how are we going to go about it? So what kind of content will we cover in these webinars? Content which is beyond what is there in your curriculum. So let's say for verbal, we'll do the official questions, kind of like official questions, very, very similar, which are kind of hard. So, which are easier to explain face to face, that ways. For quant, we'll do concepts which will help us increase our speed, concepts which are a little tricky, perhaps a little beyond what is there in your curriculum, but which will help us get a holistic understanding of what is relevant for GMAT, certainly. And then we'll also do a whole lot of data integrity once, a little later, perhaps once GMAT focus really kicks in. So these are the things that we are going to cover in these webinars, and how we'll do it. Normally, I'll give you, let's say, a question, then I'll give you a couple of minutes to solve the question. Then we'll discuss the question together. I'll tell you how exactly I would solve it. What am I thinking when I'm reading this, and how I'll structure the information so that it makes sense to me by the end of it, etc. Right? And once we're done with this, just stay with me throughout this process, because at the end of it, once we're done with the question, I'll give you about a minute to ask whatever queries you may have related to that particular question, and so on and so forth. If you have any generic queries, we can reserve them for the end, because at the end of the webinar, after an hour, we'll have an extra 10 minutes. And at that time, you are free to ask any queries that you might have. Right? So, okay, let's get into today's webinar then. And our topic for today is quantitative critical reasoning. That is, we're going to discuss those critical reasoning questions, and they are very like the official ones, official GMAT or official LSAT. Those ones which make a whole lot of sense once we apply some quantitative concepts to them. Yeah. So let's get into it. All right, let's take a look at it now. All right. All other factors being equal, children whose parents earn doctorates are more likely to earn a doctorate than children whose parents did not earn doctorates. Okay, so then again, let's make a universal set of all parents. We're talking about all parents, and we're dividing them into two categories. So some have doctorates and some do not have doctorates. And these two take care of all the parents, right? So then they're saying that children whose parents earn doctorates are more likely to earn a doctorate. So let's say out of all these parents who had a doctorate, 20% of their children, they earned a doctorate as well. Whereas out of here, the parents who do not have a doctorate, only 10% of their children, they earned a doctorate. Makes sense? Then we have taken care of the data that is given to us over here by Choi, right? Okay. Now consider what Hart says, but consider this. Over 70% of all doctorate holders do not have a parent that also holds a doctorate. Okay, so we're talking about doctorate holders. So then it's a set, and of course, all of them have parents, right? Either their parents will have a doctorate or they'll not have a doctorate, doesn't matter. But let's say all of them are going to lie somewhere over here inside this rectangle. Now he says that over 70% of all doctorate holders, so these are the doctorate holders, the children who have doctorates. They're saying over 70% do not have a parent. So over 70, let's just take it as 70, doesn't matter. So what this says is that we have 70 people here and 30 people. Now these are the children who have doctorates. Let's say if there are a total of 100, again, we're just assuming values since we're given a percentage. They're saying that 70 of these people, yeah, their parents do not have a doctorate and 30 do have a doctorate. This is what Hart is telling us, right? All right, now let's just look at the data that is given to us. We are saying that there are 30 of these over here and 70 of these over here. What does this mean? If there are, let's say, 30 children with a doctorate, what does this mean? It means that the parents, if 20% of the parents, they had kids with doctorates, it means that the parents over here with doctorates could be 150, right? Why? Because 20% of 150 is twice of 15, 10% of 15 is 10% of 150 is 15, and then twice of that, 20% will be 30, right? So then that means that the total number of people over here, parents who have doctorates, could be 150. And here we have 70 children whose parents do not have a doctorate, and assuming that 10% of these parents had these kids, we can say that the number of parents over here could be 700. Now, this is certainly a possible figure, right? It is possible that out of all the parents, 150, they had a doctorate and 700 did not have a doctorate, right? It is certainly possible. And then it is possible that 20% of these children, they had doctorate, and 10% of these, they had a doctorate. So then tell me one thing, think about it once. Is there any conflict in what Choi and Hart are saying? Is there any conflict in the data given to them, given by these two people? There isn't, right? There isn't. It is perfectly fine. Even if over 70% of all doctorate holders do not have a parent that also holds a doctorate, it's still possible, it is still all right that 20% of parents with doctorates have kids who have a doctorate. That is, more parents who have a doctorate have kids who are doctorate. It is certainly possible. Why? Because the number of parents who have doctorates could be a smaller number, right? It might seem to us that these two are saying conflicting things, but it is not necessary that they are saying conflicting things. It really does depend on how many parents have a doctorate and how many parents do not have a doctorate, right? All right. So which of the following is the most accurate evaluation of Hart's reply? Option A, it establishes that Choi's claim is an exaggeration. It does not, right? As we said, there is no conflict in the two. So it does not establish that it is an exaggeration. Then B, if true, if it effectively demonstrates that Choi's claim cannot be accurate. Again, as we said, that as per the numbers given to us, it is certainly possible that Choi's claim is accurate. It is possible that all other factors being equal, children whose parents earn doctorates are more likely to earn a doctorate. We did give 20% of these children a doctorate, right? And only 10% over here. Still, our numbers can certainly work out. There is no problem, right? Okay, so then this is not correct. Choi's claim cannot be accurate is not correct. Option C, it is consistent with Choi's claim. That is correct. As we said, that the numbers can certainly work out in a way that they are consistent. So it is Hart's data is consistent with Choi's claim. There is no problem here. Let's look at our other options also. It provides alternative reasons for accepting Choi's claim. No, in fact, he was trying to, perhaps give us conflicting data because he said, but consider this, right? But we found out that his data doesn't really conflict with Choi's data, right? So certainly he's not giving any alternative reasons. It mistakes what is necessary for an event with what is sufficient to determine. Now, we don't have any sufficient or necessary conditions over here. So then, of course, this is also not correct. Now, necessary and sufficient conditions are extremely important in GMAT. Yeah? They are extremely important to understand in critical reasoning. And in fact, the sufficiency condition, that's extremely important to understand in data sufficiency as well. So in case you haven't gone through, before we have our some other CR webinar, please make sure that you go through the conditionals. Yeah, today it doesn't matter, but for next time, just make sure that you go through the conditionals video. All right. Right. Any questions? Yeah, so we have a question. Just give me a moment. Hart's argument doesn't actually affect Choi's argument, then how C is right? Yeah, so it doesn't have to affect. Look, when we say the two arguments are consistent, what we mean is that they can appear together, they can exist together. When we say that two things are consistent, it means that they are not conflicting, right? For example, conflicting things are when I say that it is going to rain today and someone else says it's not going to rain today, then that is a conflict. Yeah. But then, for example, if I say it is going to rain today and someone else says that I'm going to go to the bank today, that is not conflicting. They can coexist, right? This is what is meant by consistent. When I say that two things are consistent, it means that they can exist together. It doesn't mean that one supports the other. No, it doesn't. Yeah. Does that answer your question? Any issues with that? Cool. Okay, let's take a look at it now. Okay, pharmacists recently conducted a study with respect to the reasons their customers purchased eye drops to soothe eye dryness. Okay, so there was a study conducted. All right, so let's say they conducted a study on people who had dry eyes. So the ones who had come to buy the medicine for dry eyes, right? Now, dry eyes were more frequently experienced by customers who wore contact lenses than by customers who did not wear contact lenses. So then, look, dry eyes, I would say that, they are saying that there are two types of people, one who wear contact lenses and the other who do not wear contact lenses. What they found in the study was that more of the people who wore contact lenses had dry eyes. So let's say here, 20% people had dry eyes, whereas here only 10% people had dry eyes. Okay. Now, the pharmacists concluded that wearing contact lenses by itself can cause contact wearers to have dry eyes. So again, this is our conclusion very clearly given to us. And this is these are the premises, the data given to us. What is the conclusion? That wearing contact lenses by itself can cause contact wearers to have. So basically the lenses are the ones that are causing dry eyes. All right. Now, what does the question stem say? Which one of the following statements, if true, most seriously undermines the pharmacist's conclusion? So we have to undermine the conclusion of this. So basically a weakened question, right? At first, we look at the options which actually confuse people. Most people who have dry eyes do not wear contact lenses. So I'll explain it to you using a diagram. Again, let's use our sets diagram. Again, I say that there are two types of people, the ones who wear contacts and the ones who do not wear contacts, right? Now, I know that 20% of these have dry eyes, whereas here I know only 10% have dry eyes. Now, most people who have dry eyes do not wear contact lenses. So I'm told that in this universal set of all people, right? Let's say the ones who have dry eyes are over here. Then I have 60, most people who have dry eyes do not wear contact lenses, right? So I have 60 here and I have 40 over here. This is what it tells me. Does it make sense? Most people who have dry eyes, this is my dry eyes circle, right? They do not wear contact lenses. So then most means more than 50%. So we've put 60 over here and we've put 40 over here. All right. Now, my point is this data consistent? Does it weaken this data of 20% and 10%? Think about it now. So for example, in case over here, we had 200 people, right? And if the total contact lens wearers, they were 200, for example, then 20% of those would be 40 and they have dry eyes. Makes sense, right? Here, let's say if I had 600 people, 10% of those had dry eyes, so 60 had dry eyes. It works, right? My data over here is consistent. Does it weaken that 20% of contact lens wearers, that contact lenses are causing dry eyes, or more people who wear contact lenses, they are the ones who have dry eyes? Does it weaken that? It doesn't. Why? Because it depends on the total number of people who have contacts versus the ones who do not have contacts, right? So we have to be extremely careful about what data is given to us, right? And so in questions like these, sets really help us figure out, this is the third question that we're doing of this type, right? Do you see that the moment we put it in a set, the moment we put our data in the set, then we are able to figure out exactly whether the data is consistent or not, right? So here, if we have 200 people who wear contacts and 600 who do not wear contacts, then this is certainly possible. It is possible that more people who do not wear contacts, they are the ones who have dry eyes. As in, the dry eyes people are more in that set who do not wear contact lenses. Certainly possible, right? Depends on how many are the total number of contact lens wearers. Okay, so then I say that this is consistent with the data given to me. So this does not weaken my data. There is no problem, right? There is no conflict over here. What about B? Most people who wear contact lenses do not have dry eyes. Well, since there are 200 people who wear contact lenses and only 40 of them have dry eyes, this certainly is okay as well. There is no problem over here also. I mean, I don't have to have, let's say, more than 100 people over here who have dry eyes, right? My data given to me is that more percentage, that is 20% of the contact lens wearers have dry eyes, whereas here there are only 10%. That's certainly possible. It is not necessary that more than 100 people over here should have dry eyes, right? 40 works with the data given to me. So then this also does not have anything to do with the data given to it, does not weaken the data given to me, it does not weaken my conclusion. It is certainly possible that contact lenses are the ones which are causing dry eyes, because 20% of the contact lens wearers have dry eyes, right? Okay, let's see. An inherited condition can cause both weak eyesight and dry eyes. Now, this is a concept called, you would have heard about it. This is our correlation versus causation concept, right? So what is this? This will be useful in a lot of CR questions. What is your correlation? That two things exist together, right? That, we'll be told, for example, there was a study or there is an observation that people who have A, they also end up having B, right? So that's your correlation. But correlation does not imply causation. That is, let's say if we find that A and B exist together, it does not mean that A is causing B or B is causing A, right? The causation means that one of them is causing the other. Correlation does not imply that, right? We say, how do we can, let's say in our conclusion, we are given that A causes B. How can we weaken that A is causing B? Look, here we are saying our A is the contact lens wearers. Our B is dry eyes. So we see that more people who wear lenses have dry eyes. So we are, there's a correlation that we have noticed. And based on that, we are saying that contact lenses are causing dry eyes. So my conclusion is saying that A is causing B. Contact lenses are causing dry eyes, right? To weaken it, there are normally two ways in which we weaken it. We say either that B is causing A, that is the people who have dry eyes, it could lead to some eye condition because of which they get, they become nearsighted or farsighted. That is why they have to wear contact lenses. And it doesn't really make a whole lot of logic over here in this context, but this is a possible way to weaken it. And the other is that C causes both A and B. That there is a third condition which causes both of them, right? Like, for example, we often talk about, high blood pressure. For example, let's say high blood pressure and diabetes, the question could be that we see that it exists in a lot of people together, right? Wherever people have high BP, they also have diabetes. And that is why, maybe the high BP is causing diabetes, right? But then we can weaken that. In case my conclusion is that high BP is causing diabetes, there are two ways to weaken it. One, I could say that no, in fact, diabetes is causing high BP. That is, we are weakening our conclusion. Or another way to weaken is let's say that the lifestyle factors are causing both the diseases, right? We could say it's the food or it's the lack of exercise that is causing both the diseases. So that way, there is another factor, we say C, which is causing both A and B, and that also weakens our conclusion. All right, so this question is pretty much a case of correlation versus causation kind of question. We say that dry eyes and contact lenses are appearing together in a lot of cases, but that does not mean that contact lenses are causing the dry eyes. There could be a third condition. This is my C, an inherited condition causing both A and B, both weak eyesight related to contact lenses, right? People who have weak eyesight, they wear contact lenses. So they are the ones, C is the one which is causing both A and B. So here it certainly weakens my conclusion, right? In fact, the moment I would see this, I would say this is the answer, of course. But then, when these options come, they tend to confuse people a lot. So then using sets, we can see how they are not the answer, right? That they are not weakening our conclusion. Okay, let's look at the option D. Physical exertion causes dry eyes in many people who wear contact lenses. Now, this is another option that really confuses people and they're pretty unhappy with it. It says physical exertion causes dry eyes in many people who wear contact lenses. So, it kind of people seem to think that, okay, so if you wear contact lenses and then you exert yourself, then that causes dry eyes. So perhaps it is, so not the contact lenses, especially because they have this word by itself written over here, right? Then they seem to think that it's not the contact lenses that are causing the dry eyes, but it is the physical exertion that is causing dry eyes. Now, there are multiple reasons why this answer is incorrect. First of all, physical exertion is causing dry eyes does not mean that contact lenses are not causing dry eyes, right? There could be multiple causes. Physical exertion could be another cause for dry eyes in contact lens wearers. Contact lenses themselves could be causing dry eyes as well. Also, this option does not say that physical exertion does not cause dry eyes in people who do not wear contact lenses. It is giving us only partial information. It's only telling us about how physical exertion, it causes dry eyes in people who wear contact lenses. But what about people who do not wear contact lenses? Do we know whether physical exertion causes dry eyes in them? We do not know. And that is why this is not the right answer. That is why this is not correct, right? Okay. Let's look at option E. Both weak vision and dry eyes cause headaches. Of course, we know that this is irrelevant, right? We're talking about which one causes the other out of weak vision and dry eyes. Headaches, what, the two of them cause a certain another effect. It's absolutely irrelevant to us. So again, this is not our answer. So our answer is option C. Yeah. Keep in mind correlation versus causation. Okay, I'll give you guys a minute. Yeah. Look, there are no weak weakeners. Yeah, there are no weak in CR questions. And this is true for most of the CR questions, let's say of the past many years. The latest OG has one or two questions. Again, even there, it's not a weak weakener, but still where we might debate. But then a CR question will have only one correct answer. It will not have two correct answers in different degree. I will not have a strong weakener and a weak weakener, right? I have only one weakener. It is not possible because look, it's very hard to say otherwise, right? Who can say what percentage of weak a particular option is, isn't it? So that is why you will have only one weakener. Option D is not the answer. It is not a weakener because, as I said, because we know how physical exertion reacts in people who wear contact lenses, but we are given only partial information. We're not given how it impacts people who do not wear contact lenses. That is why, as I said, look, in most CR questions, we are going to have a comparison, right? So what is a comparison over here? Dry eyes in people who wear lenses versus dry eyes in people who do not wear lenses. Now, does it give us a point of comparison in the two situations? It doesn't. It gives us partial information. It only tells us how it impacts in people who wear contact lenses, but it does not say that it doesn't cause this effect in people who do not wear contact lenses, right? It is possible that physical exertion could be causing dry eyes in everybody. So that is why D will not be my answer. Yeah. Of course, and C, as I said, in fact, the moment I would see this option, I would immediately jump to it because this is a very popular, strategy of GMAT, this correlation versus causation. But once we are aware of it, then it just becomes so easy to handle questions that test this.